I had a painting that was in a big show in Tucson, and I would stand back and I would watch the patrons go by, and they would stop and look at this, and they'd stop and look at that, and they would look at mine, and they'd keep going. And I kept watching that, and I called a guy over who's pretty prominent. God, he's a good painter. And I said, "Could you give me a moment?" He goes, "Yeah, sure. What do you want, Brian?" I said, "I've got a painting over here that collectors are just passing by. What's going on with this? Why aren't they recognizing this? Why isn't something grabbing them?" And so, you look at his name is R.S. Riddick. He's good, and he's got a great, beautiful painting behind, and he gave me his time, and I've got my wife took a picture of him, give him the critique, which is great. But I still ask for critiques because I want to learn, I want to get better. There's no such thing as being good enough. There just isn't. And so he would come up and he would tell me what was going on and what I could change, what I could fix. And I did. And I sent it to a collector after it was revised and she bought it. Again, to not be sold on whatever it is your final piece of work is, because there's always probably something you could do better. Maybe the tonal quality could be adjusted. Maybe the values could be adjusted because painting is just value anyway with color. Um, all things to learn. Maybe the figure was a little stiff. Uh, so things to look at, and that's what's part of that genre is so wonderful is because they share, they care, and they're genuine people. And I absolutely just love being with them when I can be with them. They're fantastic folks.
Oh, that's amazing. I think it's one of those things to remember to always be humble, whether you're the person asking for the critique or you're the person giving it, right? Because again, we all want like the whole point is we all want everyone to succeed because we can. And just being able to ask your friend or like someone, your
Mhm.
contemporary, like, hey man, I admire you, you're amazing. Give me your fresh eyes on this. And
Yep.
then that helps your painting sell. That is
Yeah, and
huge.
fresh eyes are the key to everything, I think. Because I'll be working on a painting and it's not getting there, and I'll set it aside for a month. And then I look at it and it's like, oh, there it is. That's what that I need to fix that,
Yep. Yep.
you know. And I'll look in the mirror. I'll put it in the mirror. I'll turn it upside down. I'll draw upside down. I'll paint upside down. It's for the initial block into the figure. Because once you do that, your brain doesn't see a figure.
Yep.
And I love that. You see the shape, and you can get the shape more accurately if it's upside down. It's not a hand, it's not a face, it's a shape. So when you invert it, it's much easier for me to do it that way. Now, it might not work for others, but it does for me.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the foundation of, being accurate in a really fantastic sort of way is to be as abstract as possible
Yeah,
for as long as possible
yeah.
because it is so easy. And I think I mentioned this to a previous guest as well, where we were discussing how it's so easy for the brain to label something. We say that is an eye, and you fall into eye. This is an eye, and it becomes too literal or it becomes too symbolic versus isn't I really like that? I mean, if you ever look at like a Rembrandt portrait and you
Yeah,
look at the person, you say, yeah, that's a person. But if you really look at them, you think people don't really look like that. Like
yeah.
this is so much more abstracted and descriptive than we think. Because again, that logical brain that likes labeling things just wants to kick in and be like, this is what it is. But then, the other side of your brain that's like, I don't know. It is, but not necessarily. Like the thing came before the word, not the other way around, right?
Yeah, and
So
and forcing yourself to see something different,
yeah,
for me, it helps. If
yes.
I'm struggling with something, drawing something, and I still do, I can't get the arm right, or I can't get it's like, "What's going on here?" I'll just invert it.
Yeah.
got it. The spatial relationship between the arm and the torso or whatever it's going to. There it is. That's what
Yeah.
happened.
Yeah, there's so many ways also to go about it, whether it's, doing that or even just looking at a person that you're painting and just being like, if this were a real human being and they needed to use their anatomy, would this person be able to even function? Right? Like, is the
Yeah.
torso
Yeah.
too disconnected from the body? Do they have an extra, I don't know, an extra piece of bone in their spine that they don't need because it just doesn't feel right? There's
Yeah.
you could go the route of like anatomy like that, or you could go the route of abstract, or both. Ideally, you want to use these, again, fundamental tools
Right. The
you have in your
foundation and
repertoire.
whatever works for that individual.
Yes, exactly. Exactly.